Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's Lisa. I've done some prep for us to begin the hardcover of the Jane Austen journal. And don't forget, I'm doing two of the Jane Austen journals at the same time. So the second one will have a soft cover with fabric on it. But this one is being made out of a Reader's Digest condensed book. I took the spine off of it for two reasons. First, that it just wasn't wide enough for the number of signatures and the amount of stuff I put in the signatures in the plural. This is one of the reasons why I typically prefer to put all of the ephemera and the pockets and the lace and the trims in first, because if you're new to making journals, you'll quickly realize how much that can bulk up your journal in very short order. So those are the two, that's one of the reasons, just because of the size that was needed. Almost double, not quite. The other reason is that over time, these Reader's Digest spines get, I don't know if they get dry or whatever they're made out of, tends to kind of crack. So I took it off. It was, I'll make a bookmark or something out of it. That might be interesting. Pardon me. So I went ahead and did some measuring and cutting off camera just so it didn't drive you all crazy watching me do that. So the first step that you want to do is you want to cut the spine off of your book cover right up next to where the chipboard is in the book cover. So all of the stuff that's bendy and crackly, you want to get that off and clean. So that's the first step. The next thing that I do is I take my journal, usually on, or my signatures for the journal, usually on my rotary mat because of the measuring lines, and I tend to take the signatures and kind of let them relax on how much is in here, because what I try to keep in mind is the fact that whoever uses it may be adding additional things to the journal if they want to decorate their pages more, if they want to add more of their own ephemera or photographs, then they have enough space to do that without their journal gaping open like this. So I first let it relax, and then I kind of measure on my mat approximately how big or wide that spine needs to be. So for this particular book, that's what led me to these two pieces. What I'm going to be making for a spine is a hidden spine, or a hidden curved spine, I guess is the way that I should put that. So that, like most books, when you buy them, they have a curve to the hardcover books. They have a curve to the spine, and that's what we're going to be making. So I went ahead and cut the spine pieces that will go in between the two book covers, like so. I also went ahead and cut this piece of coffee stained muslin, which you won't see most of this, but you will see a bit of it. And I glued it to a piece of Tyvek envelope just to give it some strength on the spine. And that Tyvek is cut to the height of the book and to approximately half of the width of these brown portions. The reason why I'm putting this muslin on is when the book cover is complete, I didn't want to see this brown part here. And you'll see why as we proceed. So this has been cut. The fabric was glued on, and the fabric is long enough to allow me to glue it down far enough so that we won't be able to see where it ends. That will come as we move forward too. It'll make more sense. So the next step that we need to do is to curve our spine. So let's get the covers out of the way. I will bring in my scoreboard and lay the outer part, or what I'm going to be using is the outer part, down on here. And I want to make score marks to begin to curve this. I first start like every 2 lines. I guess it probably doesn't matter. This is just the way I go about it. I go about first every 1/8 of an inch and kind of get a feel for how it's starting to curve already before I start coaxing it to curve. Come on. I have in all my clumsiness, I have a tendency to cut the edges of things, so I'm being quiet, trying to concentrate on not doing that, because I have such a habit of doing that. All right, so next I will lift this up. Now you can probably, hopefully, see how the lines are there, and here's what they're like then on the outside. So when I start to bend this, these start to crease a little bit, and this is how we get a curved spine. But I don't want to bend it hard because I don't want these lumpy bumpies to show on the outside of the book. Like, what I mean is I want it to be a very natural curve. I don't want any harsh lines where one part may have been bent more than the other. I hope that that makes sense to you in my vernacular. Okay, that's pretty good. You don't want it a whole lot. Some people do this with the cardboard middle of a paper towel roll. I've never done that. I don't know. Seems like my husband is always the one throwing away the paper towel rolls before I can get to them. So that's why I go this route. So this is the outside. Now this is made from a cereal box. Now you know what I eat for breakfast most mornings. But I cut a second one just so that we can give this a little more strength. So I'm going to go ahead and score this one as well. I guess it doesn't matter which side. This side's a little slicker. It doesn't matter, I guess. Whoops. See, there I started going crooked already. Oh, see, this slick side, I'm going to do the other side because the slick side is slip sliding all over the place. Why am I having such a hard time with this cardboard? It was slip sliding away on me. Having a little rain here in Wisconsin. It's kind of a nice rainy day. I took the day off work so I could just relax and craft and spend time with all of you. Let's see. This is about the time when I start to get really excited about how the journal is coming together. It's hard to be patient and make sure it all comes together well. Okay, so So the next thing we'll do, let's get rid of the scoreboard. Okay, the next thing that I do, let me get out my glue paper here so I don't make a mess of things, is we will go ahead and do this. So we'll glue these together so it is nice and firm. And then once we put the Tyvek on, it's really going to be a nice, sturdy spine. So the glue that I'm using is Fabri-Tac. You can use, it's a Beacon glue. Beacon also makes another one called 3-in-1. In my opinion, maybe I'm wrong, but in my opinion, they work pretty much the same. Some people use like the tape runners, the tape strips. I think I have some. I don't know if I do or not. I should look through my supplies and use it up if I do, right? All right, let's set this aside. And then put this like so. Make sure, where's my, thank goodness you all can't see my entire work area here. It's a mess. Every time I make a journal, it's always a mess, and then toward the end I start to get a little antsy about getting things cleaned up because I can't take it anymore. If any of you make journals and you're able to keep a clean desk, my goodness, please let me know how that's even possible. Okay, so that is a nice curved spine. So the next thing we're going to do is, let's get this little fella out of the way. We're going to take our spine, put him on the board here. I'll do this and then I'll glue this on, and then we'll glue it onto the covers. Oh, come on. All right. Oh, while you're watching me do such an exciting task here, I should tell you, in my Etsy on Labor Day weekend here, I'm filming this on Friday before Labor Day weekend. I'm running a Labor Day weekend sale that ends on Tuesday. So you can hop out to my Etsy and see if there's anything out there that you might like to pick up. Now is a good time. Okay, so that's that. Here's our coffee dyed muslin with the Tyvek. I think what will be easier is if I do this in the reverse, because I want to make sure, oh, here I go again, that I'm getting this centered and that the edges here, oh my gosh, my head is there. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. Okay. All right, so there's that. Let me get my card here. Make sure we got it stuck down well. Lovely. Perfection. Okay. We'll make sure that it's curved. I don't want a huge curve. I just want a nice, graceful bend to the spine. It's got to have sound effects to it. Okay, so now what we need to do, and I think it will be easier to do this one at a time as thus. Yes. So we'll get the glue back out, and I'll pardon myself in advance because I can already see I'm going to get my head in here. You want to be generous with your glue because this is the active part of the book, and you need to make sure. Ooh, what I wanted to do here, or do I? No, I'm probably okay not. Never mind. Filming, making, sewing and signatures and making book covers or spines like this is not my favorite because it's such a, for me anyway, a thought process that it's like I can't think and explain myself all at once. Okay. Get the pin back in the glue and then come back in and bring this in toward the spine. Line up our edges, but leave that gap because your book is going to bend like this and you need that space. Okay, let's flip this little fella over. Make sure he's stuck down well. So far it's looking very nice. Okay, very, very nice. Perfect. And again, remember this is going on here mainly, well, number one, it gives it some strength. Number two, I wanted to cover up this brown area. So I'm just making sure that this is stuck down well here. Okay. And we'll come back in and do any edges that need extra gluing. Not the most glamorous part of making a journal, but this is where the book cover and the spine in particular is what gets all of the action. So you've really got to make sure that you're spending the time and be sure that it is all well constructed. Okay. We'll come in here and do the same thing here. Making sure again that we're generous with the glue so that it is well adhered. Okay. And we'll come in with this side of the cover, making sure it's even. And we have that little gap so the book can bend. And my head is in the camera again, all for the sake of a good journal. Okay, I'm going to flip it again and make sure it's all down good. Okay, and I'm going to make sure we're all well adhered through here. I'm just going to put a little dab here because it makes me feel better. Okay, whoops. here where I didn't quite get it as well as I would have liked up to the edge. Here's another itty bitty spot. Okay. Very good. Okay. Whoops. Okay. So now we've got this down, and what we'll be doing next is bringing that around so that we're disguising that brown area. I just didn't want that on there. Wasn't my thing. Hold on, I've got glue on my finger that must come off. Okay, that makes me feel better. So next we will put this down, and I'll put that in there so it's got, again, some extra stability. You wouldn't have to go this long. I just did just because. I'm gonna run the glue up along the top here, because that's the area that I really want to be sure is glued well. And then I'm gonna come in here. Oh, come on. My husband works from home, and he's working downstairs in his office, and it's kind of a family joke. And how loud he always talks on the phone. Hold on, I got a glue glob. And he does, I can hear him. You probably can't, but I certainly can. This is the perfect Friday to have off and craft. Not often I want to have off on a rainy day, but when you're crafting, I don't know. It's like being home and reading a book in front of the fire, except I'm doing one of my most enjoyable things ever. It's crafting. Okay, first I want to bring it down here. Come on down. Make sure it's not leaving a gap along the top. Let me check it. Very good. Move my card along there. Make sure it's good in there. And I already saw a spot that needed a little oomph. And if you get any glue that peeks out, the way that I'm doing this cover, it doesn't matter because we'll be covering this up. There's other ways to do cover where you might bring this all the way down and it may show. In that case, you'd want to be a little more careful on how you're doing this. Okay, now I might have just caused an issue for myself. I want to make sure that this is flat because of the end papers that I'll be putting on. That's why I'm also taking extra care to be sure that this is glued down flat. All right. So far, so good, everybody. So far, so good. Probably just jinxed myself, right? Because this is a muslin, of course, as I'm rubbing my card on the fabric, some of the strings are letting loose. Okay, let's do the same thing on this side. Come on, glue. Back in along the edges here. This time I'm going to be a little more certain I'm getting right up to the edge. All right. through with our glue. Okay, what did I do with the pin? Here it is. Excuse me. Okay, making sure again that it is adhered well on top first. So that's the part that will show. And then I want to be sure again that I'm getting it in here and that these sides are stuck down. Very good. All right, so this is the first step to our curved spine book cover. All right, now I'm going to keep coaxing because I've got that glue on there, my spine, so that I'm getting the shape I want. All right, perfect. Love that. All right, very nice, very nice. Okay, guess what we're doing now? I already cut this piece of fabric, but I cut it too long because I kind of changed my mind midstream on what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. What I'm going to do is to cut this. This is why it was important to me that I have that muslin. I didn't want, this is very thick, so I didn't want to cut it longer and wrap it around because it's so thick, and given the way I want to do the end papers. There's different ways that you can do this depending all on the end look that you want to have. So what I need to do is I need to cut this. So here's my, this is, yeah, I've got it marked on my ruler. It looks like an 1/8 past 7.5. Where's my, I'm gonna have to stand up again, so bear with me because you know what's gonna happen. Okay, let's do. I might want to do it the other way because I'm gonna have to spin it so I have my marks at the top of my rotary cutting mat. Let's go back here. Come on, buddy. Now, I hope I'm not off screen right now. Okay, just taking extra good care that I've got my ruler lined up properly. Okay, what did I do with my rotary? There we go, rotary cutter. And my head just probably bumped you. Let me make sure you're not off kilter here. Yeah, I think you're good. Okay, so let's get our book cover back on screen here. Here's that. Get the schnibbles off of there. And then, perfect. Perfect, perfect. Nice. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to glue this piece and then set it on the book cover. And then what I'll need to do is I will let the book cover dry, And we will then, when we're done with this, come back and do the hidden part of the spine and sew in our signatures. I just want to have a clean flow of glue here. Now here, I want it up to the edge, but I want to be careful I don't have it too thick because I don't want it oozing out. This is the part that will be decorative that we'll see. So that's why I was trying to make sure that I didn't have glue globs. Okay, we've got our perimeter good. Now we can come through, do this. I've used this, I bought this fabric in the remnant area of the fabric store a while ago. And there was a fairly generous amount of it, but gosh, I've used this quite a bit. It's kind of been a favorite. Okay, so let's see. Oh, come on. All right. Now I've got to stand up again. I'm apologizing in advance for any head bumps. And here's where I want to be sure that I'm getting this on either side here. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, where's my little card? So here again, I want to get that in there good. Make sure he's all smucks down good. I don't even care about the strings because even if it frayed on the edges, I think I'll like that. Actually, I can use this, might be easier. And we'll leave this to dry. Now, word of advice that I've learned from the hard way. Do not bend your book right now until your glue is dry, because if you bend it when it's wet, it's going to pull the fabric away from the edge where you want it. So don't do it. Then what we will also do, and I need to have my husband help me cut these edges off of this. This is just I got a package of metal frames for another project that I was doing, but I'm thinking the way that we will decorate the front. Oh my goodness, here I go. What's the front? What's the back of the doily? I don't know. What is the front and what's the back? I think that's the back. There's got to be a front and a back, right? And then that's going to go on there. I think that's so pretty. To me, that looks so Jane Austen. All right, so that's how that's going to go. So hard not to bend it. Don't bend it. So that's what we're doing for today. I thank you for joining me. I hope this has been helpful to you, and I hope you have a great day.